Your peaceful home is secretly stressing your cat, and the hidden triggers have nothing to do with noise, chaos, or neglect. By the end of this video, you will understand the invisible architecture of feline sensory life, and we have a behavioral test waiting for you in the final moments that will tell you exactly how your cat feels right now. The illusion starts the second you walk through your front door. You close it behind you. You exhale. The apartment is quiet. The dog is not here. The kids are at school. You look at your cat curled on the sofa like a warm comma, and you think, she is fine. She is safe. She is at peace. And that thought, that single confident assumption, is where the damage begins. Because your cat is not perceiving the same room you are. She is not sharing your silence. She is inside a completely different sensory reality, one built by 40 million years of evolutionary engineering, one that your human nervous system cannot access, and one that your modern home assaults without pause, without mercy, and without your knowledge. Your brain filters out roughly 90% of incoming sensory data. It is a survival feature. It protects you from overwhelm. Your cat's brain does the opposite. It keeps the channel wide open. Every frequency, every molecule in the air, every shift in the spatial geometry of her territory. She is not resting in your living room. She is monitoring it, constantly. And what she is monitoring is far from quiet. This is not about whether you are a good owner. You are here, which already answers that question. This is about a gap between two species sharing a space. A gap that most owners never discover because the signs are slow, silent, and easy to explain away. A cat who hides more. A cat who eats less. A cat who flinches at nothing you can see. These are not personality quirks. These are distress signals written in a biological language that science is only beginning to fully decode. Tell us your cat's name and how old they are in the comments right now. Because what comes next is about them specifically. Your cat can hear up to 85 kilohertz. Let that land for a moment. Human hearing, at its absolute peak in childhood, tops out at around 20 kilohertz. Everything above that is silence to you. To your cat, it is a wall of sound. That router on your shelf, the one flashing its blue light, the one you have not thought about in months. It emits electromagnetic interference frequencies and high-frequency switching noise that many electronic devices produce well above the human audible range. Research on cat auditory cortex mapping confirms that cats possess specialized cortical neurons tuned specifically to ultrasonic frequencies, a trait that evolved not for domestic life but for hunting rodents, whose communication and movement signatures sit precisely in that ultrasonic band. Your home did not evolve with them. Your home evolved for you. Here is something darker. Studies on high-pitched sound sensitivity in cats found that certain frequencies, including the crinkling of aluminum foil, the clinking of a metal spoon, and even the buzz of certain LED fixtures, can trigger what researchers call feline audiogenic reflex seizures, particularly in older cats. Not full convulsions in every case. Sometimes just a flinch, a freeze, a sudden departure from the room. Behaviors you filed away as quirky. Stop. Think about your home right now. Your LED strips, your laptop charger, your smart speaker on standby, your refrigerator compressor. Each of these emits a frequency cocktail that sits inside your cat's perceptual range and outside yours entirely. You do not hear the screaming. She does. Compact fluorescent and certain LED bulbs operate on rapid electrical cycles that produce a flicker. Your eye smooths it into solid light. Cat visual systems perceive flicker at far higher rates than human ones. Research on predator and prey visual tracking confirms cats are adapted for detecting rapid micro-movements, which makes them acutely sensitive to artificial light cycles that your eyes simply do not register. That warm, soft lighting you installed for ambiance? It may be a strobe light for her nervous system. Does your cat avoid certain rooms for no reason? Does she squint or blink rapidly near your desk? That is not indifference. That is an animal trying to escape a frequency field her ancestors never encountered. Drop your cat's name and age below. Tell us which room she avoids. The answer may surprise you. Now here is where evolutionary biology changes everything. The domestic cat, Felis catus, diverged from the Near Eastern wildcat roughly 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years is nothing in biological time. Her brain, her olfactory architecture, her pheromone mapping system, these were all finalized millions of years before she ever walked into a human dwelling. And they were finalized for a world that smelled like earth, prey, and her own chemical trail. A cat's sense of smell is roughly 14 times more powerful than a human's. But the raw power is only part of the story. What matters more is the function. Cats do not smell for pleasure the way we do. They smell for orientation, for safety, for territorial verification. Every object in your home, every chair leg, every door frame, every corner of every room carries a chemical map that your cat reads the way a navigator reads coordinates. This is called scent mapping, and it is not optional behavior. It is her primary survival system. Researchers in a 2022 study published in Frontiers in Veterinary Science found that domestic cats under chronic stress show measurably reduced behavioral diversity, including a reduction in scent marking and rubbing behaviors, which are the very mechanisms cats use to maintain their olfactory territory. When those behaviors decline, the cat's perception of her own home shifts from safe to unknown. She becomes, in essence, a stranger in her own space. Like the video right now, if any of this sounds familiar, because what comes next is the part most people never see coming. Your air freshener, the one that releases every 30 minutes with a gentle jasmine-scented puff. You bought it because your home should smell clean and welcoming. To your cat, it is an act of environmental erasure. That automated spray is chemically overriding the invisible infrastructure she spent weeks building. Her facial pheromone deposits on the furniture, her scent trail along the baseboard, her territorial identity signature at the entrance to every room. Gone. Replaced by jasmine. Every 30 minutes. She is not being dramatic when she retreats after it fires. She is experiencing something closer to returning home to find all the locks changed. Citrus is a particular kind of violence. Not metaphorically, biochemically. Cats possess a genetic variant that makes them unable to metabolize certain compounds found in citrus essential oils, specifically D-limonene and linalool. Veterinary toxicologists classify these as feline hepatotoxins at high concentrations, but even at the ambient levels released by citrus-scented cleaning products, they register as a biological alarm signal, an evolutionary red flag. In the wild, citrus compounds do not exist in cat territory. Their sudden presence in the home does not read as a clean kitchen. It reads as contamination. Threat. Get out. You scrubbed the counters this morning and thought you were caring for your home. Your cat pressed herself into the furthest corner of the bedroom and thought something had gone wrong with the world. Here is the deeper instinct at work. Cats are what behaviorists call obligate scent territory animals. Unlike dogs, who are socially flexible and can recalibrate safety through interaction with trusted humans, cats anchor their sense of security to place, specifically to the chemical familiarity of that place. The facial pheromone your cat deposits when she rubs her cheek against your ankle or your couch belongs to a glandular system called the F3 fraction. Research confirms this fraction is specifically associated with environmental marking and the creation of what feline behaviorists call a familiar zone, a chemically defined radius of safety. When you remove or overwhelm those chemical markers, you do not just neutralize a smell. You dissolve the boundary between her safe world and the unknown. And an animal whose amygdala evolved for rapid threat detection does not respond to that dissolution with patience. She responds with a sustained low-grade stress response that you may never directly observe but that accumulates invisibly in her body every single day. Picture this. You come home after cleaning. You call her name. She does not come. She is not ignoring you. She is standing at the edge of a room that no longer smells like home. She is waiting for the world to make sense again. Stop using citrus cleaners near her resting and feeding areas. Start with that. Today, the food bowl is a battlefield, and most owners have no idea they created it. Think about where your cat eats. Against the wall, tucked into a corner because it keeps the bowl out of the way and the floor cleaner. Logical for you. Catastrophic for her ancestral nervous system. Cats are simultaneous predator and prey. They sit in the middle of the food chain, and their brains never forget it. When a cat eats, she is at her most vulnerable. Head down, vision narrowed, attention divided. In the wild, this is the moment an ambush happens. So her nervous system demands one non-negotiable condition for safe eating. She must be able to see the room. She must be able to see the approach. A bowl pressed against a wall removes that option. Her back is exposed. Her exit is blocked. Every meal becomes a calculated risk instead of a moment of nourishment and calm. Over time, this creates what behaviorists describe as anticipatory anxiety around feeding, a stress state that builds before the bowl is even filled. This is why some cats pace before eating, why some cats eat and immediately bolt, why some cats approach the bowl and then walk away without eating even when they are hungry. Now the Whisker question. Whisker fatigue has been popularized in pet product marketing as a reason to buy specialty dishes. But what did the clinical data actually show? A 2020 study from the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found no statistically significant difference in food intake or feeding behavior between cats using standard bowls and whisker-friendly dishes. 63% of cats in that same study still showed a preference for the wider, shallower dish. Preference is not clinical distress, but preference is still data. Your cat is telling you something. The question is whether you are listening. Try this. Move her bowl 4 feet from the wall, angle it so she faces the room. Watch what changes. A flat, wide plate instead of a deep bowl. Small adjustments, enormous consequences. Because creating a neutral feeding sanctuary, a zero-threat zone, is not decoration. It is the return of something she lost the day she moved into your world. Every stressor traced through this video shares one biological consequence: the ultrasonic frequencies. The erased pheromone trails, the citrus alarm compounds, the exposed feeding position. All of them keep your cat's amygdala in a state of low-level activation, her threat detection system quietly, chronically engaged, and an animal whose nervous system never fully powers down cannot fully bond. That is the part that matters most to you. Not the science alone. The relationship. When a cat is chronically stressed, the neurochemical environment that enables deep trust formation, the release of oxytocin, the lowering of cortisol, the willingness to display vulnerability, those biological conditions cannot coexist with sustained threat response. You cannot have both. They use opposite physiological pathways. When you begin removing these hidden stressors, something measurable happens. Cats in lower stress environments begin initiating contact more frequently. They sleep in exposed positions rather than tucked and curled. They slow blink more often. Feline behaviorist Dr. Karen McComb at the University of Sussex identified the slow blink as a deliberate affiliative signal, a conscious feline act of trust. They headbutt. They need. They bring their full, unburdened presence into the relationship. Not because you train them, because you finally made it safe enough for them to arrive. If this channel has changed how you see your cat today, subscribe now. There is more here built specifically for you and for them. Your behavioral test for today is this. Go to your cat. Sit at her level on the floor. Do not reach for her. Do not call her name. Close your eyes halfway and slowly, over the course of about 3 seconds. Close them fully, then open them just as slowly. Then wait. If she slow blinks back, her nervous system has just told you something it cannot fake. She trusts you. She is choosing safety in your presence, not because you are her owner, because you have become her sanctuary. That is the whole goal, not a perfectly arranged home, not the right bowl or the right diffuser. The goal is being the place she chooses to be at peace. You are already closer to that than you know. Take care of them. They chose you back.